All right, let's talk about two of the most important, and let's be honest, most confused ideas in all of system design: performance and scalability. If you can get this difference right, you can build systems that absolutely fly. But if you get it wrong, well, that's how things fall apart right when you need the most. So let's dive in.
You've probably heard this before, right? Maybe in a design review or a technical interview. It's this classic phrase that gets thrown around all the time, but it often stops the conversation instead of starting it.
So what is someone really trying to say when they drop that line? Are they worried about speed, the number of users, something else? We're about to get to the bottom of this and really unpack what that loaded phrase actually means. To really get a grip on scalability, we first have to talk about what it isn't, and that means we need to start with its cousin, performance. This is the one that's usually a bit more intuitive for us.
Okay, so at its very core, performance is just about one thing: speed. It's all about how fast your system can handle a single unit of work. Think of it like a single request or one transaction. We're not even thinking about 1 million users yet. The only question is, how fast can we do this one thing?
So when we're trying to measure performance, we're asking questions just like these. How fast does it respond? That's your latency. How much work can we cram into 1 second? That's your throughput. And, super important, what resources like CPU or memory or disk I/O does it take to process just one of these requests?
And here's the golden rule, the simplest test you can run. If your system is slow for just one single user, when there's basically no traffic at all, you do not have a scalability problem. You have a performance problem, plain and simple. It means the system itself is just not efficient at its most basic job.
And usually the culprits are hiding right there in the code. Maybe it's a clunky algorithm doing way too much work, or a classic one, you're missing a database index and forcing a full table scan for every query. The good news? These kinds of things can often be fixed with targeted code changes.
All right, so performance is often about fixing a piece of code. But what happens when your code is super efficient, lightning fast for one user, but the whole system still completely melts down under pressure? Now we're talking about the other side of the coin, scalability. This is all about the power to grow.
So here's the key. Scalability is all about a relationship. It's about this equation. When we add more resources, like more servers, more CPU, more memory, does the system actually do more useful work? It's not about how fast it is in a vacuum, it's about how it behaves as the load just keeps growing. And useful work, well, that can mean a few different things, right? It could mean serving way more requests per second. It could be about handling a huge spike in users all at once. Or maybe it's about crunching through a data set that's suddenly 10 times bigger than it was yesterday.
And this is the ultimate test. It's the moment of truth. Imagine you're in a traffic jam, and your solution is to add more lanes to the highway. That's kind of like adding more servers. But what if adding those lanes just makes the gridlock even worse? Well, then the problem isn't the number of lanes. It's the fundamental design of your interchanges. That's a system that doesn't scale.
Okay, so this brings us to the main event, the core distinction. Seriously, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this next part. This is the real aha moment.
Here it is. A performance problem is when the system is slow, even for just a single user. A scalability problem, on the other hand, is when the system is perfectly fast for one user, but it just completely falls over and becomes slow when it's under heavy load. That simple difference, it clears up almost all the confusion.
Let's make this really, really concrete. I'm going to walk you through a quick story that I guarantee every engineer has either lived through or will at some point.
Okay, so imagine you just launched your brand new app. With the first 10 users, everything is perfect. Responses are instant, it feels amazing. But then it goes viral. Suddenly you have 10,000 users hitting it all at once. The system just grinds to a halt. Latency goes through the roof. So you do the logical thing, right? You throw more servers at it. But nothing changes. It's still slow. Why? Because that, right there, is a textbook scalability problem.
And this gets us to a really critical point. Scalability isn't something you can just sprinkle on later. It is so much harder to fix than a simple performance bug. It's a whole different beast.
See, you can often fix a performance issue with a nice targeted code change. It's like a patch. But you can't patch scalability. It's not about one little piece of code. It's baked into the fundamental architecture of your entire system. It has to be designed in from day one.
A scalable design means you've already answered the really tough architectural questions, like how are you partitioning your data so that not every single server is trying to access the exact same database row? That's a huge bottleneck. How are your components coordinating with each other? How much shared state is there? You get any of these foundational things wrong, and the whole system can come crashing down the second it gets popular.
So why did we just spend all this time carefully pulling these two ideas apart? Because really, truly understanding this distinction is like a superpower for an engineer.
When you know the difference, you make smarter choices. You won't fall into the trap of premature optimization, building some massively complex system when all you really needed was a quick performance tune-up. You'll be able to find the real source of the problem. And of course, you'll be able to talk about your designs with so much more confidence and clarity, especially when the pressure's on in an interview.
So let's just end with this one. Simple thought. Performance is about how fast you are right now. Scalability is about how gracefully you handle success later. You absolutely need to design for both, but you have to know which problem you're actually trying to solve.
Thanks so much for joining me for this deep dive. If you're serious about mastering concepts like this and really building a rock-solid foundation in system design, do us a favor and like this and subscribe to the Engineering Systems channel. We'll see you in the next one.